Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to paint some more parts for this Impala. I'm going to paint that other door, the wheel skirts, and a few balances I think are hanging up in there. It's been a few days. The last time I made a video of me painting parts, the overspray seemed like it wasn't going out of the booth quick enough. And I thought that just the filters were getting dirty, because that's what happens after they start getting too much paint and primer and everything else filled into them. But it turned out that one of the two exhaust fans in there quit working. One of the two motors on one of the fans quit working, so I had to wait for another motor to show up, which came yesterday. I have two 24-inch exhaust fans that are explosion-proof motors on them. What an explosion-proof motor is it's a completely sealed motor, and it's internally greased so that there's no way of a spark coming out of the motor to ignite any sort of fumes or anything like that. So that booth with both fans running, it's moving 8,800 CFMs of air. And when I built it and I calculated everything out, it said I needed about 9,000 CFMs of air. So those two fans running are pretty much about what they want as far as air movement through the spray booth to clear out your overspray. It was still clearly working. The filter was definitely dirty, but it was still moving the overspray, just not as quickly. I think if I would have had a new filter in there and only one fan running, it probably would have done a pretty decent job. So now they're both working again. I put that back together last night. So we'll spray some parts, we'll see how it works. And then I'll probably make another video later. This hood here actually just came to me the other day. It's one of my buddy's hoods. I painted this car for him probably 15 years ago, and it sat for years and years and never got put together. Well, supposedly the hood was leaning against the wall in his dad's garage, and from people banging up against it and stuff, they put a bunch of little dings and stuff in it. And then he tells me when he brings it, there's a big ripple right here. He said somebody stepped on the hood when it wasn't on the car. So that should be pretty fun to try to fix. But the thing is I'm just trying to fix it for him to help him out. But the thing is anytime you use gold or silver paint, matching it is gonna be really, really hard. So I wanna try to fix these and not spray my new paint all the way to the edge here. If I can try to blend it in the hood, because if I go all the way to the edge, chances are it's not gonna match the fenders anymore. He is putting a big Firebird decal on here. That'll cover most of it up. He just didn't want to put that decal on here with all these little dings and stuff because it would show through. And then also I'm gonna work on a couple motorcycle parts here. These are getting a bunch of welded in holes. If you look, I ground the paint around the holes. Need to weld all those in and do a little body work to them. There's nothing wrong with them other than just a few things are getting changed on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up in the spray booth here, and we will paint some parts. These are the parts I'm gonna be painting today. A couple balances, a couple wheel skirts, and a door. I'm painting these parts today that's wrong color blue. And after these parts are painted, that'll be just about all the loose parts for the car. And then I just have to do the shell of the car, which I still have a little bit of welding to do in the on the floor pans and stuff. And then I can paint that shell the wrong color, and then I'll be ready at that point to sand everything down and then paint everything the right color, and then I can start putting the car back together. So I'm gonna get set up here and I'll be back. All right, I'm gonna mix up some sealer. I've already wiped the parts down with wax and grease remover, and I tack cloth them down. So those are ready to go. This is a 2-to-1 mix, and I'm gonna put a little bit of reducer in it to thin it down to use as a sealer. This is an epoxy primer. Probably just mixed up too much. this in the spray gun, and then we'll go out there and put the sealer on. Alright, that first coat is drying of the epoxy. We'll let it sit for 15 minutes, and then we can put our first coat of color on. I'm going to use the rest of this cord up first. If you guys have one of these paint shakers, the quarts and pints actually go sideways in here, and then the gallons stand upright. So if you have a quart of paint, stick it in here sideways, just clamp it down real good, tight. And you can shake up your quarts and pints. So I'm gonna let that shake for about 5-10 minutes, and at that point we'll mix it up and we'll be ready for the first coat of blue. Now this one part right here, you can see a little bit of body work and there's a little bit of a ding right there. I'm not worried about it because when I put the Continental kit on the car, I actually have to cut a section of this out. So that'll be cut out of that panel. Everything else looks really good though. It's nice and smooth. Everything looks nice and straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the color, and then we will start putting on the color. Okay, our color is all shook up. So I mix it. It is a 1-to-1 mix. So we're gonna do 14 and then 28. Now, because I'm painting these parts twice, this paint job doesn't need to be as critical because I'm going to be sanding it all down. Now these mixing cups only go up to 26, but I can pretty much guess where the 28 is. It's about where that line ends on the chart right there. And to be honest with you, I'm actually going to under reduce it because this color is pretty thin. So I'm actually only going to take it to 24. So I'm going to do 14 to 24 because I forgot this is the cheap. This is the paint that doesn't match. That's a thinner paint. Mix it up real good. We'll get it in the cup and we'll get the first coat of color on. Probably going to take 3 to 4 coats of color. I'm not going to go super crazy about making sure that it's 100% covered because, like I said, we're covering over it again. So we just want to get a couple good coats on there to get this color to show nicely, and then we'll put a couple coats of clear on color. We use probably about 18, 20 ounces of paint. I wait 10 to 15 minutes between coats. I know that we're already at least 5 minutes since I put the first coat on the door, because this room, I have a 5-minute timer on these overhead lights. So after 5 minutes, they turn off. And I noticed that the lights were off when I was over here working on the balances. So I know that we're already 5 minutes into the dry time on that door. So I'm gonna wait another probably another 5 minutes, and then we'll be ready for a second coat, because with the fan movement and everything else, it's going pretty quick. It seems like it's drying pretty quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some more paint, and I will be back for the second coat. All right, that is coat number 2. That took about 5 minutes. So now I'm going to mix up more paint for coat number 3, and I think I'm going to stop after 3 coats. Should be good enough. If you guys are new to the channel and haven't watched some of the previous videos on this car that I'm painting, you'll notice that I had talked earlier about painting it twice. So what happened was PPG could not get the color to match right for this car. We tried the Profit gun, we tried paint codes, everything, and it came out this bluer color, and it's supposed to be more of a teal blue. So what I ended up having to do is, most of the car was already painted when I realized it was the wrong color. And it looks like we don't need to mix up any more paint. Looks like I'll have just enough for a 3rd coat. But anyways, the paint was mixed up, ended up being the wrong color. I already had almost all the panels painted except for these few here and the shell. So at that point, I figured it was easier for me to just continue painting with the wrong color until everything's the wrong color. The reason why I'm doing that is because what I'll do then is I will 600 block sand everything down, wet sand it all down with 600, and then we will put a coat of Intercoat Clear, which is just basically like a clear base coat. We'll put a coat of that down, and then we will put the new color right over top. So essentially what's going to happen is this color that's wrong is going to act as a base color for the new color, which means I won't be using as much of the new color. So I guess it kind of works out in a way. Yes, I'm painting it twice, I'm clearing it twice, but you know, what else is good, that all the parts are looking extremely good. I don't really see anything major as far as imperfections. But if I do happen to come across any, now that it's getting painted a second time, I should be able to block out the imperfections with the clear coat. So it's kind of just like an extra, I don't know, extra primering in a way. I know it kind of sucks to have to paint it again, but it is what it is. There's really nothing you can do about it. Just gotta deal with it and get through it. So I got this 3rd coat mixed up. I'm gonna wait a few minutes, and then we will be ready for the last coat of color. And then we'll probably put 3 coats of clear. I put 4 coats of clear on everything else because I thought that was the right color at the time. I'm gonna put 3 coats of clear on this so that it just gives me enough material to really block it down nicely with 600 and get it nice and flat. And then I'm hoping to only put 2 coats of color of the new, because I think probably only going to need 2 coats to cover and get it to the right color. And then I'll put 4 coats of clear over top. So we won't be putting as much build on the paint job the second time around as I am the first time. So I'm going to wait a few more minutes and we'll get the last coat of color on. Okay, that's it for the color. I'll let that sit for about 15-20 minutes and then we'll clear it. If you guys were wondering, on my last coat, I coated the whole panel down with my coat, and then I kind of went back over it quickly with a mist. I was just trying to get the metallics to all just lay down. Clearly it doesn't really matter on this one, but just kind of a habit, it's how I do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything cleaned up here, and I'm going to get ready to do the clear coat. Okay, we're going to get some clear coat mixed up here. I have the booth set at 70 degrees today, so I'm going to run a fast hardener just because I want to get done a little quicker. This isn't a paint job that matters that much, so we're going to use a faster hardener, which is made for lower temperature. This is a 4-to-1 mix, and we're going to put a tiny bit of reducer probably on the last coat. Now, my first coat of clear, I'm only going to do the front faces. I'm not going to worry about doing the jams, and then I'll put 2 coats of clear on the jams afterwards, on the second and third coat. So this is a 4-to-1 mix. So we'll go, if we go to 20, we have to go to 25, which is between the 24 and 26. So we'll do that. We'll go, forgot the brand new gallon. We're going to go up to 20. You do not want to shake your clear, only stir it. There's also charts on here that are 4-to-1 if you want to use a chart rather than ounces. Take this to 25, get it mixed up, and go out there and get the first coat of clear on. Now, between the first coat and the second coat, we'll probably wait 10 minutes. Between the second coat and the third coat, we'll wait 15 minutes. Every time you put an additional coat on, you want to wait a little bit longer between coats because it takes a little longer to set up. Now, on your first coat, don't go trying to lay it down perfectly flat with no dryness or orange peel or anything like that. Just try to get a nice even coat, but not to the point where it's going to run on you. Because if you put that first coat on real heavy, it might not run. But when you start putting that second coat on heavy, then is when you start to get runs in your clear. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed up a little bit more, get it in the cup, and we will go out there and get this clear coat. Okay, that was the first coat of clear. The overspray is definitely moving out of the booth a lot quicker than it was the other day. I got 2 more coats to put on. The next 2 coats, I'm going to hit the door jamb and the back of the wheel skirts. So I'm going to get some more clear mixed up, wait about 10 minutes, and we'll be ready for the second coat. This is what it looks like after the first coat of clear. A little bit dry, little bit of orange peel. We're going to put the second coat on thicker, and we're going to go slower with the gun. See how that looks a little dry there? We're going to straighten that out with the next coat of clear. that mixed up and we'll get ready for the last. Okay, second coat of clear is dry to the touch to where I can get my third coat on it. Just sticky. It's not leaving strings that are pulling off. And it's only been about 10 minutes. This faster dry hardener works, you know, obviously it works quicker. We're 70 degrees in here right now. So we're gonna go ahead and get the last coat of clear on. very straight. This is the door that we had to strip down and redo because the old paint was reacting on it. This corner was a little dark. Got a burned out light. Go figure. You would think LED lights would last longer, but apparently they don't. So that's gonna end this video, guys. It's basically about the same video as the last one we did for painting. Now when you guys are painting at home or in a spray booth, whatever you're using, make sure you guys leave your fans running for like a half an hour after you're done painting. You just want to keep air movement going over those parts. The more you do that, the better it will dry. And also try to keep your heat consistent. You know, a lot of these paints, you want to paint it between 70 and 80 degrees. You don't really want to go lower than that. You don't really want to go higher than that. I mean, you can, it just, everything slows down. Your dry time slow down, you know, all that stuff. Your cure time afterwards slows down. I'm not going to bake these parts. These parts are going to be sitting for a couple weeks before they get repainted again, so there's no point wasting the gas to dry these with that, because also, plus I use that faster hardener, so we don't really need to worry about it. But yeah, just keep your fans going. Try to keep your heat consistent and just let it dry. You know, let it do its thing. You know, taking your time between coats, not rushing it, that helps you without getting runs. Yes, I still get runs occasionally. I try not to get runs because they're a pain in the butt to get out. Sometimes when I'll get a run, if it's not a really bad run, I'll wait 15-20 minutes and I'll put another coat of clear over top, because that just, then I know I have a little bit more coverage to try to wet sand that run out. Because what always happens is when you try to wet sand a run out, you end up wet sanding through the clear coat on each side of the run, not actually on the run. So if you put tape on each side of it and try to sand it that way, that definitely helps. But anyways, that's going to end this video for you. If you guys are liking what you see, like and subscribe. You guys have a good afternoon, and I'll probably post another one up later today working on those motorcycle parts. Thanks, guys.